John Fitzgerald Kennedy, known as JFK, was the 35th President of the United States and one of the most emblematic figures in the political history of the 20th century. Born into one of the most influential and wealthy families in the United States, Kennedy stood out for his vision of the future, his charisma and his ability to deal with international and domestic crises. His presidency, although brief, was marked by great achievements, such as the promotion of space exploration and the fight for civil rights, as well as crucial diplomacy during the Cold War. His tragic death in 1963 is still remembered as a mark of mourning and reflection on the challenges of his time and the unfulfilled promises of his presidency. He was born on May 29, 1917, in Brookline, Massachusetts. The son of Joseph Kennedy, an influential businessman and politician, and Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy, the daughter of a former mayor of Boston, JFK grew up in an ambitious, privileged, and politically influential environment. The Kennedy family was deeply involved in American politics and always harbored the idea of public service, which had a great impact on John's life trajectory. During his childhood and youth, Kennedy faced serious health problems, including chronic illnesses that accompanied him throughout his life. Even so, he excelled in his school activities. He entered Choate High School, one of the most prestigious educational institutions in the United States, where he began to show his interest in politics. He later entered Harvard University, where he graduated in political science in 1940. His graduation dissertation, entitled Why England Slept, analyzed British foreign policy before the Second World War and was published as a book, which gave him visibility in the political sphere. After completing his studies, Kennedy tried to join the armed forces during the Second World War. Although his health was fragile, he managed to enlist in the U.S. Navy, where he was assigned to command a torpedo boat. During the war, his ship, the PT-109, was sunk in the Pacific. Despite being wounded, Kennedy managed to save the lives of his crewmates, which earned him notoriety and several decorations. After the end of the war, Kennedy began his political career. In 1946, he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, where he served for 3 years. In 1952, he was elected to the United States Senate, where he stood out as a defender of American foreign policy and a more progressive government. His work in the Senate was marked by his support for social programs and his firm stance against communism during the Cold War. In 1960, Kennedy ran for President of the United States. With a speech focused on political renewal and tackling domestic and international crises, he won the election against Republican Richard Nixon. His victory was considered historic, especially because of his youth and his ability to communicate with the public, using new media such as television. During his presidency, Kennedy faced major international challenges, such as one of the biggest crises of the Cold War, the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, where the world was on the brink of a nuclear conflict with the Soviet Union. His diplomatic response was considered a success, helping to avert the conflict. In addition, Kennedy launched the Apollo program, which aimed to send a man to the moon, resulting in the famous Apollo 11 mission in 1969. Internally, Kennedy also stood out in the fight for civil rights. During his presidency, he made significant efforts to guarantee the rights of African Americans, promoting legislative measures and initiatives for racial equality. Although his proposals for social reform faced considerable resistance in Congress, his vision of the new frontier sought to transform the United States by advancing an ambitious program of reforms. However, many of these reforms failed to materialize during his administration due to political challenges and resistance from conservative sectors. On November 22, 1963, while on an official visit to Dallas, Texas, Kennedy was assassinated by gunfire while in an open car, accompanied by his wife Jacqueline and the governor of Texas, John Connally. The assassination took place during a parade through the city, when a gunman fired from a nearby building. The incident generated worldwide commotion, and the attack was quickly attributed to Lee Harvey Oswald, who was arrested hours later. Kennedy's death deeply shook the nation and the world, marking the end of an era of optimism and leaving a leadership vacuum. In the years that followed, various investigations and conspiracy theories about the assassination emerged, with the Warren Commission being the main body responsible for the official investigation, which concluded that Oswald acted alone. However, to this day, Kennedy's assassination remains a subject of debate and speculation. John F. Kennedy was a figure who left a deep mark on the history of the United States and the world. His commitment to progress, social justice, and space exploration, combined with his ability to confront international crises, continues to inspire generations of leaders and citizens. Although his life was cut short prematurely at the age of 46, his death consolidated the image of a young, visionary leader whose ambitions and achievements, though incomplete, shaped the future of the nation. Kennedy's legacy lives on, not only in scientific advancement and space exploration, but also in the constant quest for social justice and equality.